In the quiet town of Ashby-on-the-Wold, nestled between rolling English hills and ancient oaks, lived a young woman named Emily Carter. Emily's early life was marked by joy and sorrow in equal measure. Her parents, Thomas and Margaret Carter, had married for love, and soon after Emily was born. A bright-spirited child who brought light into their modest cottage. But fate, as it often does, had other plans. Margaret fell ill with a rare form of cancer. Thomas stayed by her side through every hospital visit, every chemotherapy session, clinging to hope with a fierce desperation that only a man deeply in love could understand. For 5 long years, Emily watched her mother's strength fade away until one bleak winter morning, Margaret passed quietly in her sleep. The loss shattered the family. Thomas, consumed by grief, vowed never to bring another woman into their home, believing no one could replace Margaret's unique love. Emily grew up under her father's vigilant eye. Thomas was both her guardian and jailer, fearful of the outside world's dangers and the heartbreak that might follow. His love was suffocating, his protectiveness bordering on paranoia. No friends, no boyfriends, no distractions. Emily's life became a series of carefully managed routines. School, lessons, home. She was 19 before she dared to meet anyone beyond her father's gaze. Across the street lived a young man named Oliver Bennett, a charming and steady presence in Emily's otherwise cloistered life. Oliver worked at the local hardware store, a place Emily sometimes passed by after her English lessons. From the first moment he noticed her, Oliver was smitten, admiring from afar with shy glances and a nervous smile. Emily, starved for connection but still cautious, found herself stealing moments on the balcony of her small upstairs bedroom, watching Oliver walk his dog or chat with neighbors. One chilly afternoon, after her father had driven her home from class, Emily made a bold decision. She slipped down to the corner shop under the guise of buying water and tissues, only to find Oliver waiting outside. Their eyes met, and for the first time, Oliver spoke directly to her. "I've liked you for a while," he said, voice barely above a whisper. "I want to know if you feel the same." Emily's heart raced like a hummingbird's wings. She fumbled for words, but all she could do was nod and clutch the small bottle of water like a lifeline. Back in her room, she wrote a letter confessing her feelings, her trembling hand spelling out a promise to meet him halfway in this new, uncertain world. Their secret blossomed slowly. Phone calls exchanged under the watchful eye of Thomas, stolen conversations from behind closed doors, and the delicate dance of 2 young hearts learning to trust. Oliver was patient, understanding the barriers they faced. He told her he would wait until he had his own place, until her father could see him as a worthy suitor. Yet, Thomas remained an unyielding fortress. When Emily hinted at their relationship, his response was chillingly firm. "Marriage? Not now, not ever. I won't let anyone hurt you like I lost your mother." His words, meant to protect, only deepened her feeling of imprisonment. Emily's only solace became her Aunt Linda, Thomas's sister, a woman with a free spirit and warm laughter that filled the room like sunshine. Linda had married late and lived alone in a quaint cottage on the outskirts of town. When Emily confided in her, Linda became an unexpected ally, offering refuge and understanding. She invited Emily to stay with her for a week, hoping a change of scenery might lift the girl's spirits. The week started gently. Linda asked about Emily's dreams, her cooking skills, her hopes. She spoke openly about love and life, coaxing Emily out of her shell. But soon the tone shifted. Linda proposed meeting Oliver in person, to assess if he was the right one for Emily. Emily agreed, nervous but hopeful. The meeting was cordial, even warm. Oliver spoke with respect and devotion, promising to care for Emily and win over her father's trust. Linda approved, but her approval came with a warning. "I'll be watching. Love is a battlefield, and I'm your commander." Yet beneath Linda's charm a darker shadow lurked. One evening, after a day spent laughing and sharing memories, Linda's demeanor changed. Her eyes grew cold, her voice sharp. She accused Emily of disrespect, questioned her intentions, and demanded unsettling favors under threat of exposing private moments she had secretly recorded. Emily's world tilted on its axis. The woman she had trusted, who had promised protection, became a source of blackmail and fear. Trapped in Linda's tightening grip, Emily felt the walls close in. She tried to confide in Oliver, but fear of losing him or worse, angering her father, silenced her. In desperation, Emily turned to the one place she thought might hold answers, the digital world. She found online support groups for victims of coercion and blackmail, and with trembling hands, sent screenshots of Linda's threats to cybercrime units specializing in protecting the vulnerable. Slowly, a lifeline appeared. The story closes on a tense night. Emily stands alone by her bedroom window, the wind tugging at the curtains. A message blinks on her phone. An anonymous tip about a hidden truth in Linda's past that could unravel the web of control. Heart pounding, Emily knows her fight has only just begun. The shadows of Ashby-on-the-Wold are deep, and Emily is about to step into the dark to find her light. Emily sat quietly in the dimly lit sitting room of Aunt Linda's cottage, the soft ticking of the antique clock on the mantelpiece marking each agonizing second. Outside, the English dusk settled over Ashby-on-the-Wold like a velvet curtain, muffling the sounds of the surrounding woods and distant village life. Inside, however, the atmosphere was anything but peaceful. Linda, once the warm and lively aunt who had welcomed Emily with open arms, now sat rigidly in her high-backed armchair. Her once sparkling blue eyes had dulled, clouded with a calculating glint that sent a chill down Emily's spine. The ornate silver necklace she wore, a delicate chain with a small emerald pendant, caught the fading light, twinkling like a warning. Emily's fingers nervously twisted the edge of her pale floral dress, the soft fabric brushing against her slender wrists. The dress, chosen carefully for its modesty and subtle elegance, felt suddenly suffocating. Her chestnut hair was loosely pinned back, a few tendrils escaping to frame her delicate face, flushed with anxiety and fatigue. She glanced down at her feet, clad in simple cream ballet flats, wishing she could disappear into them. Emily, Linda's voice sliced through the silence, low and unreadable. You must understand, this isn't personal. It's necessary. Emily swallowed hard, the knot in her stomach tightening. Necessary? Aunt Linda, please. I don't understand. What are you asking of me? Linda leaned forward, the faint scent of jasmine and something more intoxicating wafting from her expensive perfume. You see, love in this world, power is currency. I'm only trying to protect you in my own way. But you must play your part. Emily's heart pounded so loudly she thought Aunt Linda might hear it. I don't want to play any part. I just want to live my life, go to university, be with Oliver. Linda's lips curled into a smile, but it didn't reach her eyes. Oh dear, university can wait. Oliver is sweet, yes, but he's not ready for the realities of our world. You need guidance. Someone who understands the shadows. Emily's mind raced, trying to piece together the strange demands Linda had made over the past days. The secret messages, the veiled threats, the unspoken warnings. She felt trapped in a web, each thread tightening with every reluctant step she took. Why are you doing this to me? Emily whispered, voice trembling. Linda reached across and took Emily's hand, her touch cold and possessive. Because, my dear, sometimes the ones closest to us are the only ones who can save us. But salvation has a price. The room seemed to close in around Emily. She pulled her hand away gently but firmly. I won't be part of this. I won't be controlled. Linda's smile vanished, replaced by a flicker of something dangerous. Careful, Emily. You forget how much I hold over you. Emily's gaze dropped to the small black envelope Linda had slipped into her bag earlier that day. A collection of photos and messages, a silent threat never to betray her. The weight of it was suffocating. Suddenly, the old grandfather clock chimed the hour, its deep tones echoing through the room like a summons. Linda stood, smoothing her silk blouse and adjusting her tailored trousers. It's late. Time for bed. Tomorrow you'll do as we discussed. For your own good. Emily nodded, her throat dry. She followed Linda upstairs, the narrow staircase creaking beneath their feet. In the small bedroom decorated with faded floral wallpaper and heavy velvet curtains, Emily's suitcase sat ready. Linda gestured to the bed, a queen-sized canopy draped in delicate lace. You'll sleep here tonight, Linda said softly, but it's not just for comfort. Her eyes locked onto Emily's, a silent challenge that Emily's breath caught. Aunt Linda, please. But Linda's smile was serene, almost maternal. Good night, my dear. Left alone, Emily sat on the edge of the bed, her thoughts a chaotic storm. In her mind, Oliver's gentle voice echoed, promising love and safety. But here in this room, shadows whispered secrets and threats. She pulled her knees to her chest, her pale nightgown clinging softly to her slender frame. The lace trim teased just enough to remind her of the fragile boundary between innocence and experience. safety and danger outside. The wind howled through the trees, carrying with it the faintest hint of a secret long buried in ash beyond the wold. A secret that, if uncovered, might shatter everything Linda had built. Emily closed her eyes, a silent prayer on her lips, hoping tomorrow would bring a chance for escape. But deep down she knew this was only the beginning, and somewhere in the darkness beyond the cottage walls, a figure watched, waiting for the moment to strike. The dawn crept through the heavy curtains of the small bedroom, casting pale streaks of light over Emily's weary face. Her eyes fluttered open, the remnants of a restless night clinging to her like a shadow. The room smelled faintly of lavender and old wood, but beneath that was an undercurrent of something unsettling, a tension that refused to dissipate with the morning sun. Emily sat up slowly, her nightgown slipping slightly from one shoulder, revealing the delicate curve of her collarbone. She tugged it back into place, her slender fingers trembling. The soft fabric felt cool against her skin, a stark contrast to the turmoil rising inside her. Her chestnut hair was tousled from sleep, strands falling loose around her face, framing her wide, expressive green eyes that flickered with determination and fear. She dressed quickly in the floral blouse and high-waisted skirt Aunt Linda had laid out the night before, a careful balance of modesty and subtle allure. The blouse's soft silk clung just enough to hint at the gentle swell of her figure, while the skirt accentuated the graceful lines of her legs. On her feet, she slipped into a pair of classic black Mary Janes, their polished leather reflecting the morning light. Around her neck hung a simple silver locket, a keepsake from her mother, grounding her amidst the chaos downstairs. The kitchen was already alive with the clatter of dishes and the rich aroma of brewing tea. Aunt Linda, impeccably dressed in a tailored blazer and pencil skirt, sat at the oak table scrolling through her phone, her expression unreadable. Her auburn hair was styled in a neat chignon, a single strand rebelliously curling at her temple. "Good morning," Emily ventured softly, trying to mask the tremor in her voice. Linda glanced up, offering a tight smile. "Morning. I trust you slept well." Emily forced a nod, pulling out a chair to join her. "Yes, thank you. I was thinking maybe I could call Oliver today, just to let him know I'm safe." Linda's eyes narrowed slightly, but she recovered quickly. "That's a good idea. But be discreet. Your father mustn't know just yet." Emily's throat tightened. The thought of her father's stern face flashed before her. His fierce protectiveness, his silent pain. She wanted to tell him everything, but fear held her tongue. The morning passed in a blur of cautious conversation and guarded glances. Linda's questions were probing, her tone casual but laced with an edge that kept Emily on alert. "Tell me, Emily, what are your plans once university starts? Do you intend to live on campus or will you commute?" Emily hesitated. "I'd live on campus. It's part of the experience, isn't it?" Linda's gaze sharpened. "Yes, but living away from home means less control. Are you ready for that kind of independence? Sometimes freedom comes with a price." Emily swallowed hard, sensing the unspoken warning. "I believe I can handle it." Linda's lips twitched into a smile that didn't reach her eyes. "Good. Because you'll need strength. The world isn't always kind to young women chasing dreams." Later that afternoon, Linda drove Emily back to her family home in town. The journey was quiet except for the occasional crackle of the radio playing classic rock ballads, an odd soundtrack for such a tense ride. As they pulled up outside the modest brick house, Emily noticed her father standing by the front gate, his posture stiff but eyes hopeful. Relief washed over her, mingling with guilt and fear. Thomas opened the door before they even knocked, pulling Emily into a fierce embrace. "My girl," he whispered hoarsely, "I was so worried." Emily clung to him, the familiar scent of his aftershave and worn tweed coat grounding her. "I'm okay, Dad. I'm safe." Linda lingered by the car, her expression unreadable as she watched the reunion. When Emily finally stepped inside, she felt a pang of uncertainty. How much longer could this fragile peace last? That evening, as Emily sat in her room scrolling through messages from Oliver, a new notification blinked on her phone, an anonymous tip sent through the online group she joined. The message contained a single phrase. Asterisk, look deeper into Aunt Linda's past. Not all secrets stay buried. Asterisk, Emily's heart skipped. She stared at the screen, the words echoing in her mind like a challenge. What was Linda hiding? And could uncovering the truth be the key to her freedom? Or would it plunge her deeper into darkness? Outside, The wind whispered through the trees, carrying secrets only the brave dared to uncover. Emily knew one thing for certain. Her story was far from over, and somewhere, in the shadows of Ashby-on-the-Wold, eyes watched and waited, the past ready to collide with the present in a storm that would change everything. Emily lay on her bed, the soft glow of her bedside lamp casting warm pools of light across the pale wallpaper. Outside, the familiar hum of Ashby-on-the-Wold's evening settled into a quiet lull, broken only by the occasional hoot of an owl or the distant bark of a dog. But inside her mind, a tempest roared, fueled by the cryptic message about Aunt Linda's past. Her fingers traced the silver locket at her neck, a gift from her late mother, a talisman she clung to for strength. The locket's delicate clasp pressed lightly against her skin, a silent reminder of the love and loss that shaped her. She had always thought Aunt Linda was a safe harbor, a beacon of light in the storm of her life. Now doubts gnawed at her like sharp teeth. With a deep breath, Emily pulled on a soft cardigan over her blouse and slipped into her worn leather boots, the ones that had carried her through countless walks in the countryside, grounding her when life felt overwhelming. The cool air kissed her cheeks as she stepped outside into the night, the moon casting silver ribbons through the branches overhead. Her destination was the village library, a humble red brick building with tall windows and ivy creeping up its walls. It was closing soon, but Emily hoped to glean some information before the doors shut for the night. She hurried through the narrow streets, her heart pounding with a mix of fear and determination. Inside, the scent of old books and polished wood embraced her. The librarian, Mrs. Fletcher, looked up from her desk, her kindly eyes behind gold-rimmed glasses softening at the sight of Emily. "Hello, dear. Closing time in 10 minutes," she said, smiling. "What brings you here so late?" Emily hesitated, then whispered, "I'm trying to find out more about Aunt Linda. Something's not right." Mrs. Fletcher's smile faded slightly, replaced by a knowing look. "Linda, you say? Well, she's been part of this village for years, but not all stories are neatly tucked away in books. Sometimes you have to look in other places." With that, Mrs. Fletcher led Emily to a dusty cabinet filled with old newspaper clippings and local records. Emily's fingers trembled as she sifted through yellowed pages, her eyes scanning for any mention of her aunt. Suddenly, a headline caught her attention. "Local woman involved in controversial scandal." The accompanying photograph showed a younger woman with striking auburn hair and sharp features. Linda, unmistakably, but with a different name beneath the picture. Emily's breath hitched as she read about a sordid legal battle, accusations of betrayal and manipulation that had rocked the village decades ago. The article hinted at a fractured marriage, mysterious disappearances, and whispered allegations that had never been fully explained. Her mind raced. Could this be the root of Aunt Linda's controlling behavior? Was she still haunted by those ghosts, using Emily as a pawn to protect her secrets? A sudden noise startled Emily, a soft creak from the entrance. She turned to see a tall figure silhouetted in the doorway. It was Oliver, his familiar warm smile easing some of the tension in her chest. "What are you doing here?" she asked, surprised but grateful. "I was worried about you," he said, stepping closer. "I know things have been tough, but you don't have to face this alone." Emily's eyes glistened. The weight of her fears momentarily lifted. "I found something about Aunt Linda. It's worse than I thought." Oliver took her hand gently. "Then we'll face it together. Whatever comes, I'm here." For a moment the world outside ceased to exist. The flickering library lights, the scent of aged paper, the quiet village night. In that fragile bubble, two young souls found solace in each other's presence. But as they stepped out into the cool night air, a shadow moved unseen along the cobblestones behind them. A figure watched, lips curled into a sinister smile, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. Because in Ashby-on-the-Wold, some secrets refuse to stay buried forever. And Emily's journey into the darkness was only just beginning. The next morning dawned over Ashby-on-the-Wold with a misty haze curling through the narrow streets and softening the edges of the quaint cottages. Emily awoke in her childhood bedroom, the familiar scent of lavender sachets mingling with the faint aroma of toast from the kitchen downstairs. The sunlight filtered gently through the lace curtains, casting delicate patterns on the cream-colored walls. She sat up slowly, the weight of last night's discoveries pressing heavily on her chest. The photograph of the newspaper article still lingered in her mind. A younger Linda, entangled in scandal and shadows, a far cry from the composed woman who now claimed to protect her. Emily's fingers unconsciously traced the silver locket resting against her collarbone, seeking the comfort it always seemed to offer. Dressed carefully in a soft pastel blouse and a tailored navy skirt that hugged her slender waist, Emily felt the familiar mix of vulnerability and resolve. Her dark brown hair was pulled into a loose bun, wisps escaping to frame her delicate features. She slipped on a pair of modest tan ankle boots, their worn leather a testament to many solitary walks pondering life's complexities downstairs. The house was alive with the clatter of breakfast preparations. Her father, Thomas, stood by the stove, flipping pancakes with practiced ease, his usually stern face softened by the morning light. Emily's heart tightened at the sight. He had aged since her mother's passing, the grief etched in fine lines around his eyes, yet his love for her remained unwavering. As she entered the kitchen, Thomas looked up, a hesitant smile breaking through. "Morning, Emily. Sleep well?" "Not really," she admitted, sliding into the chair. "There's something I need to tell you about Aunt Linda." Before she could continue, the front doorbell rang sharply, slicing through the quiet. Thomas frowned, exchanging a glance with Emily. He wiped his hands on his apron and went to answer. Standing on the doorstep was a man Emily didn't recognize, tall, with piercing gray eyes and an air of quiet authority. His tailored coat and neat haircut marked him as someone used to command. He introduced himself as Detective Inspector James Harper, from the county police. "I'm here regarding an ongoing investigation," Harper said, his gaze steady on Thomas. "It concerns your sister, Linda Carter." Emily's breath caught. The room seemed to grow colder, the walls closing in as Harper continued. "We have reason to believe that Ms. Carter may be involved in activities that could endanger those around her, including you and your daughter." Thomas's face paled, his grip tightening on the doorframe. Emily felt a surge of fear and confusion. "What kind of activities?" she whispered. Harper's expression shifted, a trace of sympathy softening his features. "There are allegations of coercion and manipulation. Serious accusations that we're investigating thoroughly. It's imperative that Emily stays away from Ms. Carter until we have more information." Emily exchanged a look with her father, the unspoken bond of protection and worry passing between them. The life she'd known, the fragile peace, the tenuous trust, was fracturing beneath her feet. That evening, as rain pattered softly against the windows, Emily sat by the fire in the living room, the flickering flames casting dancing shadows across her face. Oliver sat beside her, his hand warm and reassuring in hers. "I'm scared," she admitted, voice barely above a whisper. "I don't know who to trust anymore." Oliver's gaze was steady, unwavering. "You're not alone. We'll face this, whatever this is, together." Outside, the wind rattled the shutters, carrying with it a whisper of secrets yet to be revealed. From the darkened corner of the room, a shadow watched silently, the glint of a hidden agenda flickering in its depths, because in Ashby on the Wold, the past was never truly buried, and the coming storm would test the bonds of love, trust, and survival like never before.